What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to a brand new video. Today we got a video with the 5 lowest recoil weapons in Battlefield 2042. This video is made that if you're trying to find some weapons that don't really have recoil or don't have as much recoil, this video is going to be for you. I'll be showing how to unlock some of the weapons, because some of the weapons you need to specifically unlock them with certain challenges. I'll also be going through the attachments that I recommend using, especially to control the recoil better. And I'll also be talking about how good or bad the weapon is. So these 5 guns will have pretty much the lowest recoil out of any weapons in the game, except not all of them are good, but maybe worth a try if this is something you are looking for. So let's get right into it with gun number 1, the AKS-74U, which at the moment I'm making this video, in my opinion, is the worst gun in the game. This is a fold weapon, so you need to do challenges to unlock this. The challenge for the AKS-74U is get 100 kills with the AKS-74U or the AM-40. So you pretty much need to either play Portal with Battlefield 3, or you have to play with the AM-40 to unlock this weapon. So 100 kills, and then the other challenge is kills with assault rifles from a distance of 25 meters or less in 1 round, and you need to get 8 of them. So that's how to unlock the AKS. Going over the attachments, this is an SMG, but it really plays more like a assault rifle, except it doesn't have the headshot multiplier, so it's gonna feel worse, and that's why I don't think this weapon is very good. So for the attachments, you want to be using I personally prefer using the Cobra sight. You don't really want to be using the higher zooms, because the damage of this gun over distance isn't great. So if you want to have it to have less recoil, use the foregrip. I use a laser sight personally, so it gets better from closer range. But if you want to make it as less recoil-y as possible, use the foregrip. And for the barrel, you want to be using the default muzzle and not the heavy barrel. The heavy barrel will increase the recoil. It will make it stronger over range though. So these are the attachments I use. If you want to have it to as low recoil as possible, go with the foregrip and the pretty much the default muzzle here, because there's no other options. You can also use the flash suppressor actually, which has no downside. So probably using the flash suppressor is the best option to go. So that's the first weapon, the AKS-74U. Next up, we have one of the best guns in the game, especially when you're trying to go for bigger kill streaks. It's not the best gun for close range gunfights or in general gunfights, but this gun has very low recoil and can do everything a little bit, and this is definitely one of my personal favorites. It's the PP29 on the SMG class, one of the first weapons you unlock. You get a bunch of bullets with it. The rate of fire is definitely slower than most other SMGs, that's why it also has less recoil. But this gun is definitely worth using over the AKS, because this gun can definitely do damage. It has a big mag, so you can go on big streaks / flanks if that's something you're trying to do. And because of the low recoil with this SMG, you can actually cover quite a decent distance with this. So to go over the attachments, what I'm be using is the standard issue, which will increase the recoil control as well. It will also increase the rate of fire. And I personally always use the Fusion Hollow. You can actually use higher zooms with this weapon and still make it work pretty well, because the recoil isn't that much. There's no factory mounts for this. And then for a barrel, if you struggle to control the recoil, I always recommend I don't recommend going with the Warhawk compensator. It will reduce the recoil control, but the weapon accuracy itself will get worse. So even though you can control the recoil better, the weapon will get a lot less accurate. It will start spreading a lot more, so your bullets won't really be going where you are shooting. So this is a very frustrating attachment to use. So I would recommend staying away from this one. You can use the Arkham Tactical Muzzle Brake. This will increase the vertical recoil though, but the vertical recoil is always the most controllable. So if you struggle a little bit with the horizontal recoil, I would go with the Arkham Tactical Muzzle Brake. Personally, I use the factory barrel. What's up, Brad? No. On to the next weapon, and this weapon right here is the easiest to control out of any weapon in the game. and at least that's what I think. It's the M16A3. It's one of the vault weapons that came from Battlefield 3. You also need to do challenges for this gun. Let me grab the challenges. So what you need to do for this gun to unlock it, you need to get 30 kills and assists with the underbarrel grenade launcher. So you pretty much can do this with every assault rifle that has a grenade launcher. Personally, I did it with the S-FAR because it's one of the default attachments and it's pretty much the easiest one to do. So I recommend trying this with the S-FAR with the underbarrel, and then you need to get 100 kills with the S-FAR as well. So that's why I also recommend doing it with the S-FAR. So 100 kills with the S-FAR and 30 kills with the underbarrel grenade launcher. And this, I think, is definitely the most beamy weapon in the game. These are the attachments that I use: the reflex, the laser, and the heavy barrel. If you want to make it as low recoil as possible, switch up the heavy barrel to the flash suppressor, because the heavy barrel increases the recoil, and of course change up the laser sight for the foregrip. I personally actually still recommend these attachments because the recoil on this gun is low no matter what attachments you are using. So I recommend still sticking to the heavy barrel and the laser sight. If you still struggle to control the recoil a little bit, go with the foregrip and the flash suppressor. Definitely a gun worth using. Not the greatest up close, but it can beam players from pretty much any range. So up next we have the M416, also a vault weapon that came from Battlefield 3. This gun got brought into the game only recently, and you also have to do challenges for this gun. So the challenges for the M416 are get 100 kills with the PBX45, which is the first SMG you unlock, and then get kills or teammate revives. You need to get 60 of those. So you can get 60 assault rifle kills. If you struggle with that, you can go for revives. And that way you can unlock the M416. I think the M416 is a decent weapon. I think the M16A3 is a better option though. So if you're like not sure which one to pick, I would stick to the M16A3 because I feel like it's just slightly better. Same for the attachments, pretty much like the M16A3. You kind of want to be going with the factory barrel and the foregrip. If you don't struggle with the recoil too much, go with the laser sight and heavy barrel. So for the last weapon in this list, there's a couple more weapons that don't have as much recoil, but I think I wanted to keep this video to 5 guns. It will also be a vault weapon, and it's the XM8 LMG. What you have to do for this gun is get 100 kills with the Advances, which came with Season 2, and you have to get 60 LMG kills in order to unlock the XM8. I think this is right now one of the best guns in the game. However, it doesn't pull up as fast, so if you're a very aggressive player, you're gonna have to adapt your playstyle a little bit to this one. But in terms of recoil, it's pretty crazy with this weapon. I wouldn't be surprised if they would actually nerf this weapon slightly. This came from Bad Company 2, so for the attachments, this is interesting because the gun doesn't really have any attachments you can use. The only thing you can change up is your sights, and you can choose to not use a bipod. So there will be a choice there you can make. I would of course recommend just using a bipod in case you want to go and kill players across the map. You just have to go prone and the gun will become even more beamy than it already is. But for the rest, you can't really change your attachments. Definitely recommend using this gun. I think it's one of the best guns in the game because it has low recoil. The reload is extremely fast and it kills very fast from pretty much any range. Up close, from far away, it's a very solid weapon to use and low recoil. It's not as beamy as the M16A3, which I think is the lowest recoil weapon, but I think this is one of the best weapons in the game. So hopefully this video was useful. Consider subscribing if you haven't yet, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.